Well, will you look at that? Colossal Order kept their promise and released patch 18F, which is basically the winter patch where they added two more maps and, more importantly, a lot of fixes the community has been asking for. So, let's answer the question, is it now good? Is it better? What did they really fix? What you're seeing here is actual gameplay from the newest version, and the first thing I can already say, it runs smoother. Like, I have to admit, I didn't have the big problems other people had when it came to the performance of the game, but I also had a pretty good PC, right? So what I can say is I feel the difference in performance. What I definitely notice, because that is now completely gone, is this weird flickering with black shadows and everything looks like a PlayStation 1 game. You know, when you were zooming in too much and for too long, then everything looks like potato mode and there are black shadows everywhere. That is completely gone. I don't have that in my game at all. After hours and hours of playing, it never appeared ever again. And that is such a massive improvement, because it literally did drive me crazy when that happened, because it looked so bad that it completely did draw you out of the immersion I had with the game. So that's already great. And as I said, it also feels like as if I'm getting now steady 30 plus FPS, no matter how many vehicles or how many stuff there is on my screen. But then again, I have a relatively good PC with 32 gigabyte of RAM, a GeForce 3080 with 12 gigabyte of VRAM, and a little bit of an older CPU with a Ryzen 7 2700. So, and it's running on an NVMe too. So it's a decent PC, right, for those type of games. Absolutely, there shouldn't be a problem. But even I had some smaller issues with performance when the game came out, and now it's running buttery smooth for me, so I'm pretty happy about that. But if you have been a person who had issues with performance, like massive performance issues, please definitely make sure you check out on people who do much more in-depth performance stuff with Cities Skylines 2. Now let's talk about gameplay changes. One of the biggest one is they said they have fixed the traffic. And before you know say, well, that doesn't look like your traffic got fixed when I'm looking at your screen. Oh, no. This is basically the simulation still figuring out a few things. But it is important to note that they have fixed those weird, I am changing my lanes without any reason or rhyme, and I do that 1 second before I actually do a U-turn on the interstate and then drive backwards or something like that. Like, let's be real here. The traffic behaved absolutely crazy since the release. Did it got better? Yes. Is it perfect? Is it fixed? No. No, it isn't. They are still changing their lanes now and then. Sometimes when it doesn't really make too much sense. And yes, they sometimes wait still till the last second to get on the right lane when they have to turn right or left or something like that. But it isn't as crazy anymore, and it doesn't interfere with the traffic as much as previously. So it feels much better, and my traffic is now in a much better situation as it has been before. What I do have to say though is there seems to be, since the patch, more traffic on my streets. Right, I have only around 25,000 people who are living in my city, and now I have tons of people just driving around. And even though my other my trains and all that are full. So it's a bit weird what happened with the next patch. I don't know if they are maybe coming outside of the city and something was bugged there. But after a few more hours after I recorded this, it seems like my traffic is now in a really good state, and the AI has figured out what to do with it. There are still some issues here and there. Also, crashes. When you have car crashes, are getting much faster resolved which is fantastic, right? You had like some massive issues with that sometimes some of those car crashes could sit around there for 24 hours or even longer. And well, then you had massive traffic issues afterwards. They seem to have fixed that as well. But those are like the biggest fixes in this patch. Yeah, they made it also more now that you have a better idea on how much money you actually make. Like you had a pretty high fluctuation in the money numbers your city could make per month or even per hour, and it was jumping in between. Now it seems to be much more stable, and you have a much better idea on how much money you actually make. They also made some fixes to the airport, which I couldn't check. But so far, it seems that everything they have been promising to fix, they actually fixed. Again, to make this very clear, does that mean the traffic is now bug-free and is behaving as it should? No. There's still some smaller issues, as you can see here right now in the background. I'm still sometimes trying to figure out which lane they're actually now using. So it's not as bad as it was before, but there's still some improvements. Let's just say we are not in a broken state anymore. We are now in a functional state where you don't want to internally scream when you see the traffic in your city. And I think that's a pretty good improvement for everyone involved, right? So with that said, this patch is definitely alleviating some of the issues together with the other patches. I would go so far to say that Cities Skylines 2 is now in an okay-ish state over the holidays, but more has to come with the patches in the next year. But we are on a good way. They are working on it, and they are succeeding in what they are trying to do with the patches. So we are getting there. We are definitely getting there. With that said, thank you so much for watching. If you have still any questions or any thoughts, let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to leave a like. And also, if you might want to consider to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate that. We are focusing on strategy games here on the Mole Under Management channel. It's a pretty new channel, and it is the end of the year, and I wanted to thank all the people who have been supporting this channel since we have been growing quite quickly. So thank you very much for that, and I wish you some great holidays, and I definitely see you next time. Stay safe.